Hey, Pastor Mark here. I just wanted to give a quick commentary and offer some thoughts on an issue that I saw in a recent YouTube video that I watched. And so here I am doing a recording in my car. I never thought I'd record something in my car. Everybody records in their car, and it's just kind of weird. But I've got the free time. I'm actually in a cool place to do the recording. I'm in front of the courthouse. I don't think you can see it back there through the windows, but I'm in front of the courthouse. And that's a really good place because this topic has to do with feelings and facts. And whenever you're in court, an issue of justice does not hinge on how you feel about it. It depends on the evidence. It depends on the facts. And so does this situation that I came across in this video I was watching. It is a conversation, I don't really think it was a debate, a conversation that was had between Christian apologist Jonathan McLatchie and a street epistemology advocate and YouTube personality. Is that the word you want to use for that? Doug, I can't pronounce it. I'm sorry, Doug, if you see this. I can't pronounce your last name. You seem like a nice guy, but I don't know. Maybe it's just my Texas tongue doesn't make those sounds. But his YouTube channel is PineCreek. I guess you can go check out his videos if you want to. He's civil and nice enough. And I don't agree with pretty much most everything he posts, but he's a nice guy and it can invoke some thought. And however, he has some good conversations, and I like to watch how Christians respond to those conversations. So I was watching this conversation he had with Jonathan McLatchie. And they talked about several issues that are interesting. Some people say Jonathan didn't do as good a job as he could have. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not. You can decide that. But at the very end, the issue basically got cut short. The video just kind of ended, despite the fact that I think they had more stuff they had intended to talk about, because they hit an impasse where neither one was willing to have the conversation the other one was trying to have. What happened was, after several other issues of, talking about evidence and biblical interpretation and sort of things, Doug asked Jonathan a question about the flood. Not just like about the flood factually or biblically, but about how Jonathan personally feels about the flood. So he was asking, at one point he asked, what would you tell God if God were asking you, hey, I got to have some judgment, some justice, and your options were to flood and drown and cause all this suffering, or to just poof the people out of existence? What would you advise God to do? And Jonathan's correct response was, I can't advise God. He's God, I'm not. So it's up to him what to do is the right thing to do. I can't tell him what to do. And Doug just kept pushing. Oh, but to drown all those people, especially the babies, how does that make you feel? And he kept pressing on this issue about how do you feel about that? How do you feel about the fact that God put a judgment on the world that included the drowning of babies? And it's like, you know what? I mean, knee-jerk reaction. Wow, okay, that sounds terrible. Who wants to think of drowning babies? But he kept pushing this issue, and Jonathan was saying, do you have an evidential case you're trying to make? I mean, because that's what we're here to talk about. Well, but no, I want to know what you think, what you feel. How does that make you feel when you think about God doing that? And Jonathan's response was, I'm a Christian because I look at the evidence. The evidence leads me to the truth of the Bible, and that means God is just, God is loving, God is good, and he knows what he's doing. And if that's what he does, I have to trust that he is God and he knows better than I do. That's a great answer. That's actually the right answer. That is the answer to give. And Doug was just like, well, no, your fellow Christians struggle with these kind of things. Do you struggle with it? And Jonathan just would not engage that question. Rightfully so. I don't think he should have. And so since Doug was wanting to pursue the emotional questions and Jonathan was wanting to pursue the evidential and factual questions, they really didn't have a conversation to have, so they cut it short. What I was watching that and I was thinking and kind of wishing Jonathan would have said is that your feelings don't matter. Because that is also the second part of the answer to that question. Absolutely, yes. The answer to the question is exactly what Jonathan gave. God is just. God is loving. God is all-knowing. He knows the right thing to do in that situation. The second part of that I wish he would have said, that's okay, good guy, great stuff, go check out his material, is Your feelings don't determine it. Just like if you're in a court case, okay, do you want the jury sitting there feeling their way through it? Right? If the murderer of your child is, on trial, do you want the defense making appeals to emotion and the jury sitting there feeling sorry for the guy? No, you want justice. What are the facts? Did he do this? What are the facts? What is the evidence? That's how justice works. That's how life works. Your feelings have their purpose. They have their place. God gave them to us for a reason. They inform us some things about the world. But here's the thing. Your feelings can be wrong. Your feelings can actually mislead you. Your feelings are formed and shaped and influenced by your cultural situation, your personal background. There's so many things that go into what form what you do or do not feel in a given situation. And sometimes your feelings are wrong. Right? If you've been 15 and in love, you know for a fact your feelings can lead you to a place of ruin. We don't trust our feelings, especially in the big things. Your feelings can lie to you. So we don't trust the feelings. The feelings are not the place where the question gets answered. And I think that's a way of thinking we have got to get ourselves away from. We use our feelings for what they're there for, right? When you get scared, that's, danger. Right? That's a good thing. But you don't just react to the feeling. You go, okay, is there danger? What should I do with it? Right? You stop and you think. So feelings have a place, right? Whenever you feel that attraction, that infatuation brewing up with someone, you still have to stop and go, wait a minute, is that someone I want to get to know? What can I see about them? What can I know about them? Right? You don't just act on the feeling itself. So just saying, hey, how does that make you feel? Well, how it makes me feel is actually irrelevant, because you also have to consider what are the facts, what is the evidence. And the situation where there are some things in the Bible that, especially with our 21st century sensibilities, we look at and we go, oh, wow, I don't get that. That just kind of, I don't want to read that. I don't want to know about that. Okay, but that's from our perspective, from our feelings, from our current culturally informed sensibilities. That actually has absolutely nothing to do with what is really just. What actually is the loving thing to do? What actually is the objectively good and righteous thing to do? That's not determined by our feelings on the matter. That's objective facts. And so Jonathan's answer was spot on. Do you have some evidence? Is there an argument? Is there actually a case that you're trying to make? Is there something? No, you examine the facts, and the facts say that the Bible is true, that God is just, that God is loving, and that God is the very standard of goodness and righteousness. So whenever we come across something, we go, that doesn't seem very good to me. That doesn't seem very loving to me. To who? To you. It's your subjective, feelings-based opinion versus the perfect, holy, righteous, just, loving creator of all things, who is himself the very standard. His nature is the very source of goodness and righteousness by definition. And your feelings are going to stand judgment over that? That is really not a way of thinking we need to approach the world, especially questions on things of God. That we would, not only that we would stand judgment over the sovereign creator of the universe who gave us life and whose very nature determines morality, but that we would stand judgment over him based on the foundation of our feelings that are whimsical, that can be wrong, that are demonstrably wrong and lead us into ruinous situations. And we're going to use those feelings to judge God. Why would we think that way? That is not the way that you think. That is not the way that rationality works. That's not the way that you approach a situation. So the correct answer is the one that was given. And I'm sorry Doug couldn't see it. Doug, if you watch this video, I hope that you kind of understand what was going on in that conversation. Because the correct answer is, what is the truth? Not how do you feel? Because the question of how does this make you feel doesn't matter one bit. Because how you feel is irrelevant to the facts of the situation and the truth of the matter. And so that is my little rant. I'm not trying to pick on Doug. Seems like a really nice guy. But, hey, you know what? Our feelings don't determine reality. How we feel about a situation doesn't determine the truth of it. What we need to do is we need to look at the evidence, look at the facts, and determine what is the truth, not how you feel. Feelings have their place, definitely have their place, but you know what? God also gave us a brain. We need to use that too. So there's my rant. Take it, leave it, flush it, but there it is. Have a good day.